Today, my friends, the writings concern what I call the novus publius, which is the new public. Hope you enjoy. The establishment of a new breath of fresh air to freely think in comes from a painful labor. For a healthier society is one that must be rational, knowledgeable, evidential, comprehending, and educated in how to increase one's own understanding. Indeed, it is a society that is eventually liberated from the phenomena of religion insofar as it is organized due to its negative historical inference and influence in domestic, foreign, or international governments, educational systems in general. An enlightened one is one that thinks and is one that eventually becomes what it routinely thinks and does. It therefore wants freedom from religion over freedom of religion, which almost never speaks of the actual reality of things, but focuses on the irrational. This process, like many other cultural and socio-economical, as well as biological and psychological, philosophical, historical shifts, takes time to be and needs time for consolation, to be completely eradicated, allowing humanity, in a globalistic sense, to be emancipated gradually from its former superstitions, dogmatic imperatives, and religious bigotry. By this we put into place the greatest of all flourishing and the goodness and kindness of all that wisdom, virtue, and truth discloses to our planetary species of primate apes. The novus publius, the new society, will live in peace with all sentient beings and life forms, in and outside our own galaxy. Which, of course, to go into a different galaxy will never happen. But nevertheless, we will embrace the entire landscape of potential knowledge. Given two fundamental questions concerning the matter of things from a scientifically informed, historically philosophical point of view: what exists and what matters? These are the greatest of all questions in comprehending the how, when, where, and why. Does education not teach our children and younger generations how to think critically and rationally about what people believe and why they do so? After having first examined and investigated by means of historical inquiry whether any of the uniquely cultural religions of, say, the actual age arising directly out of a particular time in human civilization, as opposed to before civilization, have actually had any historical facts or scientific evidence to validate and or prove to be sound. Any evidence to suggest that the main individual claims they make in different historical and cultural contexts are credible or believable, based upon good arguments and reasons. Given this, the aim of education and the new public is to create a society for physically both healthy and mentally intellectual individuals that have not been indoctrinated by the trap of pseudoscience or pseudo-history. Everything, including material culture, must be questioned, examined, studied, and learned through experience in order to foster all kinds of questions, stimulate curiosity, and influence creativity for imagination and innovation in the world of novus. To learn and to practice what is learned time and again is a great pleasure. To examine each day, to be loyal to those on whose behalf you act. Are you trustworthy to friends, modest and patient? For is not such inquiry different from all others? What makes one a teacher is exploring the old and deducing the new. For to learn without thinking is to work in vain, and to think without learning is desolation. Knowledge is the acknowledgement that what is known, and what is not known. The good set their hearts on benevolence, loving all of humankind, our fellow creatures, as opposed to possessions, and seeking to know humankind. The wise are free from perplexities, the virtuous from anxiety, and the bold from fear, for the person of virtue overcomes difficulties, while making success a secondary consideration. When times are good, people have learned with a view towards their improvement. When times are bad, people have learned to win others' approbation. Indeed, some have died from treading water or fire, but no man or woman has died on the course of rightness. But of course, the great end of learning is to seek to know oneself and to maintain one's understanding of what they think to be right. What makes one great are the senses and the mind. So let humanity stand fast in the supremacy of the nobler part of its constitution. Nourish your passions naturally, by rectitude, for they are helpmates of rightness and reason. We are benevolent when we love others, right when we respect others. What constitutes, then, perfect virtue? Generosity, sincerity, earnestness, kindness. Indeed, a pupil may contemplate these treasures and carry away as much as they desire, for to study in the presence of a master is to become a master of yourself, to compose your life with honor, justice, strength, and wisdom. But one must study in order to learn, and one must learn in order to live. For in the brief season of life, the first responsibility is to live, and to enrich life in oneself and others, in order that the final history of things may be a history of good. This is in regard to wanting to see clearly, to hear distinctly, to recognize our attitudes towards others, to being benign, our mood calm, our speech sincere, to our conduct, to our doubts, and to all other difficulties. To love benevolence without love of learning, which leads to foolish simplicity. To love knowing without love of learning, which leads to thoughtlessness. To love sincerity without love of learning leads to disregard of consequences. To love straightforwardness without love of learning leads to insolence. To love boldness without love of learning leads to quarrelsomeness. To love firmness without love of learning leads to extravagance. I hope that we can achieve great things by our unswerving dedication in the work that the world and our community ask of us. What need even to mention the grace of our manners, our devotion to those we love, the integrity of our conduct to all people? There is nothing that is lost when so much stands already gained. We sleep after much achievement. But let us dwell with pleasure on the good of the past, summoned courage to bear the present, and turn outward to a future. For there is comfort in what we share, and in the knowledge that others understand how we feel. This is my reply to foster a healthy new society.